able to save him $80,000 in taxes.
Who is owing $80,000? What did he owe?
Our community doesn't end until the divorce is final, so what's yours is yours, what's theirs is yours.
Yeah, well, it's all shared, basically.
It's all shared.
Trust me, take it from a divorcee over here. It's a real fun process to go through. I'm really, really excited to introduce you to one of my favorite people on the planet Earth. This is my sweet friend, Tracy Jansen from Targeted Tax Relief. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So I'm bringing her here because it is tax season, my friends, and you know as well as I do, this is a stressful time of year for a lot of us. But after the pandemic and a couple of years now of like, I don't know, just mayhem, it feels like.
Complete mayhem.
Complete mayhem. I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to call an expert who has a tendency to do a really good job of getting people out of IRS issues, right? We'll talk about that in a minute, and answer your questions. So I've been actually asking for advice from people who have been submitting questions online through our Instagram and things like that. So we're gonna answer some of those questions, but before we do that, I wanna get to know you a little bit, and so they can know you, because you're gonna be around a little bit more often, I think.
Hope so.
I hope so too. So talk to me about Targeted Tax Relief. I know that your job really at the end of the day is to help people get out of trouble with the IRS, right? How does it feel at the end of the day when you're doing that for people? Because the IRS is a big bad wolf.
Yeah, it feels amazing to help people. Just when people come in and tell their story and to hand off their issue to me,
right?
It's really palpable.
I love it.
I can feel their relief.
Deep breath. You know what? I feel that same relief with people when they're looking for a house, or they've worked with the wrong realtor, or they just never thought that they could buy a home, and then all of a sudden they're now homeowners and they're living their best life, right? I love too that, you know, you are a Las Vegas small business, which you know I love to lean into, but you're not just focused on Nevada or Las Vegas. You're a national company who can help anybody, right? Well, you're not a national company, you operate nationally, right?
Right, we're not a national company in that we have a bunch of locations in other states.
Right.
But because the IRS is a federal agency, where people file tax returns all over the country.
I love it.
And all over the country, some people have tax problems.
I love it.
We're able to help anybody.
I don't love it,
anywhere
but
with their tax problems.
I don't love it because nobody wants tax issues, but I love that you're one of the people on the other side that can actually help them, right?
Yeah, we go to bat. It's kind of like hiring a lawyer when you hire me.
Right.
So I'm not a lawyer. I don't want to put that out there.
Not a lawyer.
Not a lawyer.
Just bing, bing, bing. We're going to put that at the bottom, not a lawyer.
But I am hired to represent people before the IRS, so you don't have to worry about them calling you or knocking on your door. They've got to go through me now.
That's the big bad wolf. I'm telling you. And I would want to deal with you if I was the IRS. Actually, I wouldn't, because you're pretty fierce when you need to be. It's kind of fun.
Well, only to them.
Only to them, not to the client. So let's talk a little bit before we jump into the questions about, you know, some of the tax benefits. Because I'm focused on Las Vegas and Nevada, we're going to focus just on this area. But again, if you need help with any tax issues or IRS issues, this is the girl to call no matter where you live. But let's talk about some of the benefits to living in Las Vegas, living in Nevada from a tax perspective.
Gosh, I think the biggest one is that we don't have a state income tax.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Flashing on the bottom here. No state income tax.
And you know, I'm from South Dakota, so I've never lived anywhere that had one. So I really don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
To have to turn over even more of your paycheck every month.
But a lot of people move here and they get an immediate raise. Like I had a client move to Las Vegas from, where did they move here from? East Coast or maybe Chicago? I don't know where, but they got like a 12% raise just from that perspective alone.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. So like, you know, I know that there's pros and cons, whatever, but like from that perspective, I think that's one of the #1 things drawing people here.
Yeah, and I think our property taxes are fairly reasonable.
And that leans
people
right
might say low.
Right into what I do. They're very low, right? It's definitely based on the appraised value or the assessed value, assessed value, which is sometimes 60% of what the house actually costs. They do the assessments every couple of years, but we're paying on average less than 1% or around 1% of property taxes, which is really key. So again, like you're coming from California or New York where you're paying like ridiculous property tax, you come here, again, that's an immediate raise to the bottom line. What about our sales tax? I'm always behind on the numbers. I never get them right. Like, what are we paying for sales tax these days?
It's less than 8.5%. It's literally 8.375.
Look at you with that on the top of your noggin. Look at you.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, you know, it's really pretty reasonable, especially if you're coming from our neighbor to the west,
right,
who has
you can say California, girl.
Multiple different rates depending on where you're buying, living, buying products, that is, and paying the sales tax. You know, I think they're up over 9% in some areas.
God, and we're less than 8.5%.
Less than 8.5%.
And again, that all adds to that bottom line. It really does. Okay.
Oh,
what else?
We don't have sales tax on our groceries here.
We don't have sales tax on our groceries. I don't even think I realized that.
Some groceries might, but not on food.
What? I didn't even realize that.
Not on food.
And I know sometimes, like if you go out to the strip, there is sometimes like entertainment tax that they'll add on if there's like a live band or something playing. But we eat more than we entertain ourselves, I'd say. So that's still a good balance, right?
Yeah, eating at home. I mean, if you're buying food out at a restaurant, you have to pay sales tax on that.
I didn't realize that. The groceries, I'm okay. Let me add that to my list of number 1, number 2, number 17 things you need to know before you move to Las Vegas.
Yep, that's a good one.
Okay, let's jump into the biggest question mark, which has been the last couple of years, and the pandemic. Pandemic for me has been a whirlwind of mayhem in a lot of aspects of my life. Honestly, we all know that.
We don't need to go there.
We don't need to go there. But from a tax perspective, it definitely has felt like a major shift, or just things got super quiet. There's free money, free grants, there's all this stuff going out, but not a whole lot of reciprocal conversation, it feels like, with the IRS. What was going on?
They've been completely broken. They shut down just like the rest of us.
Right.
When we all got sent home from our jobs to work from home, so did they.
Right.
And that meant that there's not people working in the mailroom processing all the mail. Have you seen the pictures?
No, I haven't seen the pictures. We're gonna show pictures right now of what this looks like.
There's like a picture of a break room, which is stacks and stacks of boxes and files and papers. It's just insane. They're hard workers just like we are, right?
Right.
And they're not able to come process that work.
Right. Well, and you think about it, like that's a massive machine getting shut down. Like to get it revved up and get it going again, you can flip the on switch, but it doesn't just go right back to normal, just like everything else.
All these new tax laws, people are trying to understand it and getting their stimulus. They're trying to call, and you got the same employees trying to work for other areas of the Treasury Department, and they're trying to get our stimulus money out to us. If they're trying to get our stimulus money out, then that means they're not processing the tax returns that are sitting in the mailroom. I mean, it was complete mayhem, and they've been broken. But they've got some new hires.
That's what I've heard.
They're answering the phone.
Right. Oh, well, look at that. But I did hear that there was definitely money that went out to help backlog and backfill some of the people who aren't working there, the retiring people that are moving out over the next 10 years or something, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, with all that being said, with the pandemic, that's one of my biggest concerns or questions for people right now. And in terms of just tax liability or even just tax problems that are going to maybe come and face them, business owners and individuals, what are you seeing or what should we expect right now? Early 2023, it's the beginning of tax season. I can't believe you're not at your desk right now. It's because I caught her early. But what should people, let's talk with business owners, small business owners or any business owner, what should they be expecting right now from that perspective?
One of the benefits of the pandemic is if you had an IRS problem and you owed and you were receiving collection notices, the government realized people just didn't have jobs, they didn't have money to pay their IRS debts right now, right? So they shut down that letter sending system.
So that's what I kind of meant when I said it kind of got quiet. Like really the reciprocal conversation of give us our money kind of came to a halt, right?
Right. I mean, some areas of a collections department were still working, but the letter sending stopped.
Okay.
So
until
here's
when?
The rub,
I was going to say until when?
Here's the rub though. That letter sending process that switch got turned back on in January. So if you owe the IRS and you haven't heard from them in a while,
they're going to be calling.
There's probably already a letter in your mailbox.
Oh, so that part of the machine is back up and running, and we're back on track with that. But for a while, so that's what I kind of meant was like, for business owners who do probably owe past taxes, for individuals who owe past taxes, like for me, it's like it got quiet, and I think a lot of people might have thought that their problems had disappeared. Maybe they haven't.
Yeah, they were just maybe put on pause to give you a moment to breathe.
Right, which is appreciative.
Nice.
It's nice.
I
So
think another probably lingering issue that might be out there is some payroll taxes.
Okay, for businesses. Okay.
The thing about payroll taxes is if you don't pay them, anyone who has signature authority over that business checking account or is in some position of ownership or management or authority is responsible for those payroll taxes when the company doesn't pay them.
Those business owners. So as a business owner,
maybe if your business shut down during the pandemic, you didn't make it, but you also didn't pay payroll taxes, the IRS is going to come after you personally
for the payroll taxes.
For the payroll taxes. And I think there's probably some of that out there that maybe is just lying below the surface, about ready to pop.
All right. Well, so we're seeing the pandemic, we all thought, oh, we made it through, we're all fine, I got COVID twice, whatever happened, or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, we're really now focused on like the backlog and the results that are going to be coming, to your point, to pop, right? They're going to be, floodgates are going to be opening here pretty soon.
Absolutely.
So if you owed the taxes prior to, or you may owe over the last couple of years, definitely keep an eye on your mail, right? But the bottom line is like if you are just scared of the tax IRS situation, I'm scared. It's a big bad wolf to me. It's foreign language. I don't even speak banking, let alone taxes. This is the person who I call if I have a question, if I need someone to help me through an issue, if I owe and I don't necessarily think I really should owe, or maybe I want to look into it. You're the person I would call.
Or you can't afford to pay.
Or you can't afford to pay.
A lot of times people have big changes, eruptions in their lives that take them off track.
Right.
And they're not able to pay that IRS debt, or maybe they filed their tax return and big scary number I can't pay.
Yeah, that definitely happened to me.
That happens to people, and then they just even stop filing, which is even worse. But if they call me, I can get them back on track, back in compliance, and don't always have to pay the whole amount. Sometimes there's programs that people can qualify for to pay less than what they owe. So.
All right, well, let's jump into some common questions. I have some notes here from the people who have been submitting questions, and then I want to have you talk a little bit about some of your success stories, because I think, when you say to me, you're like a tax fixer, which I love. You're like Olivia Pope of like this, Scandals. Anybody watch Scandal? Olivia Pope of taxes. Yeah. Hey.
Oh, what was her tagline?
I don't know, but you know what? We need to cheers on that. We're going to do a cheers of some red wine, Olivia Pope style, right? She's love that red wine. Let's do this. With that being said, can you buy a house if you have past taxes owed?
Well, that's a great yes and no question.
Let's hear it.
The no, if you're not in some sort of a resolution with the IRS.
Meaning
if you
like
owe,
a payment plan or something.
Payment plan or something.
Okay.
If you owe and you're not working toward paying it off, then no, you're not going to be able to get a loan for a house.
Okay, so obviously that directly correlates to my business and my world. And so we have a lot of people who are moving here from other states who may have, again, state by state, doesn't matter. This is federal stuff we're talking about, right? So it does carry over. They definitely are going to be looking at those things.
They'll find your new address, trust me.
Right, but at the end of the day, don't let that discourage you, because you could talk to Tracy. She could really look at a situation of getting you've done it with me, where there's a payment plan for taxes that you owe, and as long as you're making those payments on a regular basis, they could be very small payments. They're not huge,
Right.
You'll be able to make it work.
There is a calculation to arrive at the payment amount.
Okay.
Generally, it's the amount divided by 72 months, and that's not the case always.
But you're really good. But there's negotiability, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Amber can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe what the mortgage lenders are looking for is for you to be in a payment plan for about 3 months.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
So once you're in that automatic plan, it's coming out of your checking account. I think it's got to be coming out of the checking account. Again, Amber.
And not
can
mailing
correct me
in.
if I'm wrong.
Amber Coleman, Guild Mortgage, who I do a lot of things with on the channel. We're going to be doing some Amber and Tracy kind of roundtable discussions kind of about these things so that we can answer those specific questions. So if you're thinking about moving to Vegas and you want to buy a house and you happen to owe, or the pandemic is a little bit scary, we're not sure, don't let it stress you out. Let's let Tracy be the one that guides you through that conversation to see if you even need her help, first of all. And then secondly, beyond that, we can let Amber get you set up for qualifications.
Exactly. So once you're making those payments automatically, I think 2 or 3, and you're
ready to go.
To apply.
Rocking and rolling. All the more reason for you to call us sooner rather than later. By the way, just pausing this moment for just a minute. Link is in the description below and in the pinned comment. So if you need to reach out to us or want to discuss moving to Vegas in 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, I don't care. I want to know about it. Today's the day you need to reach out. I'm also going to be including information on how you can get in touch with my sweet Tracy here, because she is going to be the person who I would trust with my life when it comes to negotiating your way out of the paper bag that is called the IRS, for sure. All right, a couple more questions that we got from people online. If I moved to Nevada in the middle of the year last year, what happens when I file taxes? How does that affect me?
Well, if you're moving from a state that has an income tax, like California, for instance, they have a state income tax. They require you to file a tax return every year. You would just do a partial year return.
Oh, nice.
With California, and we don't have any of those tax returns here.
We don't do that business.
Taxes here.
Oh, another reason why Vegas is better than everywhere else, because it's just simplified, right? So you'll only do for the partial year. Can you tell me off the top of your head residency requirements or anything like that? I don't know them. I think it's 6 weeks. I think.
I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
To be honest.
We're gonna find out, and I'll put it at the bottom of the screen when we do the editing of this video, because I didn't even think to look that up, but that's a good question.
Usually it's just, once you're here, you're a resident.
Yeah.
As long as you're planning to stay here permanently, get your driver's license
Spending,
here.
I think, 60% of your time here, I think, is the rule for buying a house, right?
If you're a voter, you're planning to vote, you're buying a house. obviously you're a resident if you're buying a house. So.
Well, or you're buying an investment property, which definitely can come into play. But you're here to stay, you're spending, I think, 60% of your time, but we'll definitely put that information on the screen. It's probably there right now while we're talking. Enjoy that information. We've done our research after the fact. All right, here's another question that came through. Las Vegas is the wedding capital of the world, as we know, and if I want to get married, but I have back taxes owed or issues or concerns, or maybe my partner does, what's your advice?
Number one, talk to somebody like me.
No, talk to you is what the question, the answer is. Talk to you.
If it's possible to postpone the wedding, maybe you can get the tax debt resolved first. Definitely get some advice on whether you file jointly or separately.
Right.
We are a community property state, so once you are married here, our community doesn't end until the divorce is final. So what's yours is yours, what's theirs is yours.
Yeah, well, it's all shared, basically.
It's all shared.
Trust me, take it from a divorcee over here. It's a real fun process to go through. So.
Yeah, if we're filing separately, then all the income goes in together and we split it 50-50.
Got it.
But there are strategic reasons to do that. It seems like, well, why bother if it's a 50-50? But in the case of someone having some past tax debt, that's a really good strategic reason to think about filing separately. Don't go doing it without talking to an expert first.
Right. Really, the question was like, what's the advice? So the advice is, before you get married, before you pull the trigger, we know you're in love, you want to do there's birds around you, everything wants to rush the wedding. If you have anything related to taxes or anything related to back owed money or any questions at all, this is where you want to start.
Yes, back owed money. Excellent.
Big time, right?
To bring that up, because a lot of times there's student loan debt, child support's a big one, and it doesn't seem to be related to taxes, but it totally is related to
It's also
taxes.
related to buying a house too and moving here. I mean, everything affects everything, I think, is the bottom line. So better safe than sorry. And do you guys do, I know you have a great team, you guys are amazing, you're experts in this field. Are you getting bombarded right now doing a lot of phone calls and answering these random one-off questions from people, or how are you feeling about that? I mean, it's the beginning of the tax season, so.
Well, tax problems are all year long.
I know that. That's why I was like, so that's my real question to you is, are you getting bombarded this part of the year, or is this more like tax problems are just going to bubble up when they bubble up, it doesn't matter?
Correct.
All the more reason for me to reiterate, I don't care if it's November, I don't care if it's July, I don't care if it's April 15th, this is the person you want to start with, honestly, on anything tax related, to kind of help you unwind when and when you do not need your help, right? When you can do this on your own, and I know you're really good about that, like I can help you with this, but this is something that's easier said than done.
Oh, sure.
Or easier done than said is what I meant.
We can't help everybody, right? We may not be the right place for everybody, but if I can't help you, I will tell you how to help yourself.
Right.
Or I'll
That's what I love about you.
Be able to, refer you on to somebody who I think might be a better fit for your situation.
Right. Well, and our businesses are very similar in terms of how we operate from a customer service perspective. We feel the same way. If we're not the right agent for you, or you're looking to rent and not buy, we're not able to serve you, we'll make sure that you get handed off to the people who can. I think that's super important.
I do.
Some of these companies they are in a hard sales mode at all times. You make a phone call to them and it's scary because you think you're going to get stuck on a phone call that you're, uncomfortable with because you have to tell someone no when you weren't wanting to, right? That's not the case when it comes to working with our team, and it's absolutely not the case working with you. I know you're a giver, I'm a giver. We just want to do what's right for you. So, very good points. I love it.
I really enjoy it.
I know you do. This is what we've been working together for a very long time, like I think 7, 8 years now, 8 years, maybe? 9 years, maybe? Long time. Feels like a longer time than I should say out loud because Mike is going to age us. Okay, what kind of clients should be reaching out to you? That was another question that somebody asked me, because when they saw your name of your company, Targeted Tax Relief, they were like, do they file taxes? I have a tax guy, I don't need their help. Like, what kind of clients do you really want to work with?
Yeah, I mean, the only time we really get involved with filing taxes
I'm just going to take a sip of wine as you continue.
With Targeted Tax Relief, the only time we really get involved with filing taxes is helping people who haven't filed for a long time.
Okay.
We'll help them with getting caught up.
So let's talk about that for a minute. I'm going to be very honest. I know I can count on my 10 fingers at least 7 people who I know that are just, I don't file, doesn't matter. Like they are running in the wind. I don't know how they haven't been assessed. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it will catch up with you at some point, right?
Well, here's the deal with those people. If they're not getting the love letters, they're probably leaving money on the table.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm going to say right now. There was a year that I think I was like 18 and just had my, a job for 6 months, whatever. Didn't even know that you had to file taxes at the time because I was young and dumb and stupid. Not like I am now. I'm just cute and stupid. But, with all that being said, found out that I ended up leaving like $3,000 on the table because I had no idea that I was supposed to file. So filing doesn't always mean you're paying. I think that's a really good lesson.
Yeah, the tax return itself is just a reconciliation
of
how much money you earned during last year, what the tax is on that money, and then you reconcile it against what you paid
out in
your paycheck, withholdings,
write-offs, all that.
Yeah. And then the difference is what you owe or what you get back, or maybe you broke even.
So your
the return is just the reconciliation.
But your team doesn't focus on doing the returns, right? You work with hundreds and thousands of professionals who do that for a living, and they refer their clients to you when they get into a bit of a pickle, right? So what's an ideal client for you? Like, just in case someone's watching this and they think, oh, she's not I already have a tax guy. You're not a tax lady. You could be, essentially you are, but you're really a relief person.
I've been a tax lady in a past life.
She's done it in a past life, which is what makes her an extra expert, right? But talk to me, like, what's an ideal client for real?
An ideal client for real is somebody who owes more than $10,000 to the IRS.
Okay, that's great.
If they owe less than $10,000 and it feels pretty daunting to them, you can call me anyway. I can probably walk you through helping yourself.
That's amazing. First of all, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So 10,000 or higher if you owe or you think you owe, if you haven't filed in a long time, if you're way behind on filing, start here. Don't start on your own. That's a hot mess of an experience. Start here so she can go through the pacing process, right?
One of the reasons they probably haven't already started on their own is because it's kind of daunting.
Heck yeah, it is. If I'm afraid of the big bad wolf, I know that the rest of the world probably is too. Give me some success stories. You know, you share some really cool stuff when we do have a chance to spend time together that I'm always just not only impressed by, but just I get excited for you because I know that's why you're in this, right? You want to show people that moment of relief on their face and give them a chance to like breathe. So talk to me about, give me your most recent 2 success stories. Give me something good.
Oh, well, how about my 2 favorites?
All right, give me your 2 favorites.
Well, one of my favorites is one of the first ones I did. This was many years ago, and it took me 2 years to resolve. Probably shouldn't have taken that long, but it was one of my first ones.
Right.
I was able to save him $80,000 in taxes.
Who is owing $80,000? What did he owe?
Well, I won't go into his backstory.
Don't tell me his name, but just tell me, like, are we talking like how did it start? What did it start with and where you saved them?
Well, you know what? It started with the last time the nation had a big financial crisis.
Interesting.
And he had bought another house. He lived in it for a little bit, and then he moved out of it and got foreclosed on, and the IRS audited him.
Oh, no.
And the auditor handled it incorrectly.
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean the IRS makes mistakes too?
They do. Indeed, they do.
Look at my really fake surprised face.
They make mistakes, and they made a big mistake in his case.
Wow. So
And
you were
I
able to save him $80,000.
I was.
And I know you said it took 2 years to resolve, but that's a lot of money, and I'm sorry, worth it, in my opinion.
Absolutely
If
worth
it's
it.
in resolution conversation, they're not taxing you or billing you or trying to, right? So if while it's in that moment of like limbo, you're working on it, they're waiting to see before they come down with the hammer, right?
Yeah, I had to do audit reconsideration. I had to ask for a change in venue. It was pretty involved.
That's crazy. That sounds like 2 years involved.
Right?
But I'm sorry, but I would wait 2 years for that. That's amazing news. And I know that it took you 2 years. I know it was one of your first, whatever, early on in the career, but it took you 2 years because you were paced, you cared, you didn't give up, you were resolute. Yep. And I think that's the biggest thing. And that's what it requires in your role, obviously.
For sure.
All right, give me one more. Give me one more good one.
My other favorite one, he tells me all the time that I saved his life.
Oh, don't make me cry.
Yeah, I know. It makes me almost cry every time. He's one of my favorite people.
Oh.
And he came to me with some SFRs. Those are substitute for returns.
Okay.
So he hadn't filed. His wife died of cancer.
Oh,
and
okay.
He was
Now
grieving.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
And he didn't file returns because he was grieving, you know? Totally, completely human thing.
Yeah,
right?
human thing.
And so he got these substitute for returns and subsequent collection letters. I think he owed over $100,000.
Oh my God.
And I helped him get those actual returns filed, the tax reduced, and we put him in a payment plan.
That's amazing.
And I think we got him down, if I'm thinking the numbers correctly, it's like from 125 down to 25,000.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Pretty big deal.
So you're saving major money. And you know what's crazy is people who aren't filing, people who aren't whatever, grieving, they were in the hospital, they have medical, just the life and world is piling up on them. Like, the numbers could be huge, like these that you're telling me, and they could also be $11,000, right? Which could be huge for some people, could be life-changing for some people. So for me, like, what I love is that these are wonderful big number stories, but I've heard you tell me stories about, which we don't have to go into, but that are much smaller numbers, but still are life-changing because someone took the weight of the big bad wolf off of their shoulder. You did. You took it off their shoulder and let them take a deep breath.
I helped a guy file an offer and compromise, and his final offer was $100, and they accepted it.
So he paid off whatever back owed taxes, and it went all the way down from whatever it was to $100.
$100.
So if you do not understand why it's important for you to call this girl, I don't know how to help you, and you probably should just turn off this video right now. Yeah. But the reality is Targeted Tax Relief, Tracy Jansen, works on a national level. She can help you no matter where you live. Of course, I love her because she's a Las Vegas small business owner, and it makes me the best, friend ever to have you come on here and be able to say that I'm a good friend, you're a good friend, and we're helping the same people with the same kind of issues, just on different ends of the spectrum. People who don't have any hope because they never thought they could buy, they're getting, declined for this, that, and the other. And then sometimes it's tied to things that you deal with. It's basically, tax related, past issues, forgot to file, was going through a grieving process, whatever, right? So for me, it's just so important to me that people understand there is hope. You can own a home, can have a future. The end is not near, right? And it doesn't matter what you owe, what situation you're in, how deep in the hole you are. It's a judge-free zone. Judge-free zone.
100%
100%.
judge-free zone.
Amber and I talk about that a lot when people reach out that I've got bad credit, I've got bad this. Honey, you ain't got what I used to have. Let me tell you about my credit, you know. So because you've seen it all, there's no time for judgment. It's time of action. Let's get this fixed.
I'm here to help, not to judge.
Okay. I'm here to help, not to judge. Targeted tax relief. I'm here to help, not to judge. So if you are considering moving to Las Vegas, certainly, of course, reach out to me. I would love to get to know you and figure out what we can do to help you move from where you are to where you want to be, which is right here in my neon hometown. But if you are anywhere in the world, honestly, anywhere as it relates to the United States of America, of course, we're talking federal, please talk to my friend Tracy here. If you haven't filed taxes in a few months or years, a few years, are worried about the pandemic stuff, you're a small business owner and you're deep in the rut, you had a bad this, bad that in the past, and you aligned yourself with the wrong vendors and you need someone to help you get you out of it, let this lady be the one that starts that conversation with you. She's just like me. She's willing to say yes and help you, whether it's helping you do it yourself or helping you out. But for you, I don't know, I just think I want everybody to know you because I love you and I know you and you're the best. So I'm gonna put your information down below. We're also gonna put it on the screen here so you can see it. You can call her anytime, you can email her, but more so than ever, be sure to let her know when you do reach out that you met her through this amazing video.
Oh, for sure.
Now stay tuned because Tracy and I are gonna be doing some awesome, fun live stream Q&A sessions, not only about taxes, but getting approved for a loan and kind of all the cool stuff that comes into play with grants and all those fun things. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, give my girl a follow. Her information's below. Make sure you reach out and say hey, and I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Love you.
Love you too.
All right, we'll see you next time.